Hi, my name is Jack Buckley. At age 14, I decided to follow my dream by creating and releasing a feature film that was shown in theaters and inspired kids around the globe. There are many kids who waste their childhood on things that won't bring them a good life, but I believe in us getting out there and following our dreams while we still have a chance. Now is the time to create. Welcome to the Jack Buckley Show. Hello everybody, welcome back to the Jack Buckley Show, the show dedicated to inspiring young creators to follow their dreams. Today we're talking with Canadian Guy, a YouTuber with over 60,000 subscribers who talks about nostalgic games. Let's go talk to him. Alright, so why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
So, hi everybody, my name is Canadian Guy, and I am a content creator and live streamer. I've been doing it full time now for about 3 years now. It's been about 3 years, might be more now. I think it's about 3 years full time, and I did it part time for a year before that. And before that, I was also doing YouTubing since 2007, where I was just making whatever I wanted, and it was not even themed or anything. It was all over the place, and I didn't even use a microphone or anything like that. And so I then got serious about it when the Insane Trilogy, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy came out. I got serious about it and I gave it a try. And well, here we are now. After 4 years of working under a channel, we are now full-time. There's no other, I don't do side gigs. I don't do it. This is my streaming, creating content and online stuff that it's all that I do. And it provides for the family, and I'm overjoyed to be able to say that's my job, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And so every Thursday and Friday you live stream for hours on end, usually spending for 4 hours each. So how do you make it through those, and why do you love it?
I sometimes ask myself the same question about how I make it through. No, I absolutely love it. The 4 hours goes by really quickly if you love it. If you love what you're doing, time becomes irrelevant, right? And you can tell when you're not having a good time. Like, let's say if you're playing a game maybe you're not into and you're trying to stream it, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to end, we're so close. I look at it, it's an hour and a half past, right? So I try to stream games that I really very much enjoy on my personal time as well. I don't just play games for the sake of, oh, this is popular, I'll just play this. No, you have to balance it, because the thing is that if you don't like the game that you're playing, the audience is going to know it. They're going to see it, they're going to feel it, and they're not going to want to be engaged at all.
Yeah.
But the thing is that when you are really digging the game and you're really enjoying it, what will actually happen is you'll get engagements from commenters, but not just with me, but with each other, and they'll have conversations with each other. And then a third person will hop in the conversation and they stay engaged. And then I get engaged in the conversation too, because I'm interested to see what they're talking about on the stream and what it is. And so that is how you can really be able to get into that mindset of making sure that you enjoy it and being a place for people to gather and view something together as friends, right? And in terms of the 4 hours, like I said, time goes by really quickly, but that's not even like my longest streams. Back when, I haven't done them recently because we've been busy with a move. Luckily, the move is just about finished, and as we're in the new office now. But I did 12-hour streams where I went 9 to 9, and those are hard. No matter what, even if you're enjoying the game, those are hard. Those are the challenge. Those are the ones where at the end of the day, I turn off my stuff, I take a glass of water, and I just crash in the bed. So it's something that is, it's truly a thing of passion. It really is. And the one thing that I want to say too is that it can get discouraging for young creators as well to do this type of stuff, because unfortunately, because so many people aspire to want to do something, where a lot of people are held back by algorithms, the YouTube algorithm, the Twitch algorithm, this algorithm, that algorithm, social, blah, 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 blah. There's all these things that hold a lot of young people back, and they get discouraged when they stream. They streamed for 3 hours and 2 people showed up, right? And one of them was a friend and the other one was their mom, right? And they get discouraged. And the thing is that, do you know the saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat, right?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. That is the exact same thing with terms of streaming. people think that you click go live and then people flock to your stream. No, unfortunately, there are so many other people doing the exact same thing where they click go live and they hope for the best, right? The thing is that in order to be able to do that, you have to step away from everybody else and to be able to really show that if you have a love and passion, it will come through. You'll figure out ways and stuff like that. So there were recommendations that I heard that I did was that I started a YouTube channel first and then started streaming, right? So I garnered an audience there and then I directed them to the stream. And then I got a small following over on the stream. And because I had a small following right away, that put me higher in the algorithm, which attracted more people, which attracted back to the channel, which made it bigger, and it feeds it back and forth. So the best thing that I can say, if someone's a young creator that wants to be able to enjoy this full time and not feel discouraged, is to create a web of content. Don't just do live streaming. Try making videos, go on Twitter, go on Reddit, do all these things and create a web of network to be able to really grow your social standing and your social status, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome. And you talk a lot about games on your channel that really mean a lot to people, like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, and more. So what drew you in making that sort of content on YouTube as opposed to something else?
So first thing is passion. So we'll rewind a little bit. Before I did the Crash and Spyro stuff, I used to do League of Legends content, which is a PC game. And I did that for a summer. And it was a game that I was playing and I enjoyed it. But when I was making content about it, it wasn't, in terms of, in my point of view, I had an okay time talking about it, but I kept getting overshadowed and like beat down by other content creators because they have League of Legends, just so many people. It's such a massive fan base. And I was like, all right, you know what, maybe this isn't it. And I still play League. I still enjoy it. But what inspired me to do the Crash and Spyro content was that when the Insane trilogy came out, I played it and I rediscovered a love for those games because I'll be honest, I put them away for a long time. I still enjoyed them, but I put them away. And the reason why is because of memories from childhood and stuff like that related to my brother. And unfortunately, my brother had passed away. So it was hard for me to really comprehend and play these games without thinking about my brother. And I kind of packed it away. And then when the Insane trilogy came out and I played it, I was able to help and learn and recope with those memories. But because of all these years I've neglected from playing Crash and Spyro, I was just like, you know what, I gotta get back into this again. Man, I love these games. And so I did a Crash Bandicoot review, an old one way back in the day, one of my first Crash and Spyro videos. And then my very first video I did was evidence of Spyro's comeback, because there were some evidence of it. Very little, but there was some. And I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to turn on my microphone for one of the first times, and I'm actually going to speak into a mic, and I'm going to create a video. And so I did. And when I was talking about Spyro, there was just, I remember when I made that first video, and remember how I said earlier today that when you're loving what you're doing, time is irrelevant? When I started editing that video together, it was probably 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then when I finished, I'm like, okay, I'm done. This took an hour or two, and I looked and it was 9 o'clock. And I was like, where did the day go? What happened? And then I fell back in love again with, I never lost the love, but it was just put away. And so I remember this specifically. I remember this moment specifically as the start of my YouTube career, was when I uploaded that video that I worked so hard on. I looked at it by the end of the day and it had 12 views. And I thought to myself, gosh, this is hard. This is really hard. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I went to bed. I woke up and it had 123 views. So it surged like 110 views overnight. And I thought to myself, man, that's a big surge. And then people were commenting. That was the best part, was people were commenting, because before videos I would upload, people would view, but they wouldn't comment, but there were comments. And so by the end of the week, it had hit 1,000 views. And I'm like, man, this is this is resonating with people, because I thought honestly Spyro was kind of a niche thing, to be honest. And I think a lot of other Spyro fans thought the same thing, that Spyro was niche, until we all revealed, hey, we're all Spyro fans. We all look at each other like, what? You like Spyro? You know Spyro? You like Spyro? And it was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I felt like it really resonated with people. And so, I was like, well, let's try it again. So I made another Spyro video, and that one started to do well. And I did another one. And then my first big video that I made, it was a theory video. And that one's now my most viewed Spyro video still. It's got over 300,000 views. And I was in love with it. I loved talking about Spyro. I loved talking about Crash. I loved it. And because it stems from nostalgia. And nostalgia is a very interesting feeling, where it doesn't matter what the quality of the game was. You relate the game to your childhood, which normally gives a warm, fuzzy feeling inside. And nostalgia is a powerful feeling. It's, you can think about a good memory, childhood memory. You think of all these things as a child that were just bright and wondrous. And people feel like they want to rediscover their childhood. And I feel like that's a philosophy that a lot of people are trying to explore nowadays when they're in their 20s and 30s, that they're like, I need to get back to my childhood, because we spend as teenagers, we spend so much time trying to be adults, and we're trying to grow up and trying to be, and then once we grow up, we get here and we're like, man, I had a lot of joy when I was a child. And I feel like people rediscovering their childhoods through gaming, through Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, Banjo-Kazooie, these games that bring that feeling of, man, I remember this as a kid. I remember playing this. This was so much fun. And then to see new fans and young fans, where it's like, these people are new, and these are people like, hey, I played Skylanders, maybe. I really enjoyed that. Or I rented Twinsanity when I was 5 when I was a kid. And now I'm older, but, and there's this, it's really nice to see. And you get this feeling of people who are having nostalgia, and then people discovering it for the first time, and it creates a community that's just amazing, and it's supportive, and it's great. And that's why I love doing the content. That's why I love doing it, is because we are backed by such a wholesome and amazing community. If the community was 100% terrible, then yeah, it wouldn't be fun. But there's a community within the Crash and Spyro fan base that is just absolutely the purest form of happiness and nostalgia. And it's so much fun to be able to just sit down and see these games come back, with Crash Bandicoot 4, it coming back. That is so crazy. That is so amazing. And that is something that I feel like I wanted my channel to be. I wanted my channel to be a bastion of people rediscovering their childhood through nostalgia, and talking about other games that could be remade in the future that could bring those franchises back. And that is something that I kind of wanted to focus on for the channel Canadian Guy A.
That's amazing. So a lot of your videos contain a lot of things like theories about games and such. They're really complex, and it's amazing how you weave them together. So what's your process behind creating those theories?
Wow. I sometimes wonder that too. Literally, in my mind, how it works for me is that I just look at the evidence on the table, and then I extrapolate, which is a prediction based off of the evidence that we have. And my mind is constantly buzzing. It's buzzing with ideas and buzzing with things. And probably 6 out of 10 times, it's not good ideas. It's just kind of meh ideas, meh. And then all of a sudden I'll hit one. And sometimes it'll be like an epiphany. I'll be getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden I get an idea, and I jump out of bed, and I'll grab my whiteboard and I'll scribble it down. And weaving these things together, what I do is that I take a path. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand when I repeat information in a video. And this is something where people need to be able to understand when it comes to crafting a theory or crafting an idea. You have to be able to make sure that everybody is on board with you. So sometimes, for example, when we talk about leaks, sometimes there is a circle of leaks that we use from the same sources, right? And the thing is that it might be like, okay, I have this theory about such and such. We're going to stem off of the leaks that we do know, and then I'm going to add these 2 new attributes to what we know, and then find a conclusion. And so a big criticism of the channel is that, oh, you repeat information. It's like, yes, I do repeat information. It's so that people who are visiting for the first time know what it is that I'm talking about. Because if I just turn around and say, hey, remember the leaks from this person? Yeah, well, from there, and we go on to the 2 attributes that I add, they're going to be lost. They have no idea what I'm talking about. And when I look at the stats don't lie. For all my videos, 75% of my views are coming from people who are not subscribed. So people who are not up to date on all the latest stuff. So what I do is that when I pull up my document, I write out the evidence that in just point form, like, okay, what is the point I need to get across? And the point I need to get across is, let's say, for example, Crunch will be in Crash 4. Okay, that's the point I want to get across. How do I get there? And where do I start? So you start from the most factual place possible. And you start from, and you make that your foundation. You make the foundation of as many facts as possible. And that's how you start off. And sometimes, again, that's repeated information. That's repeated. So you start off from facts that you know, and then you can go to stuff that most people know, but could be just rumors. And you build it to the point where you build it as much to prove to somebody when you weave it together that this statement that you're making is true. And I try to make sure that I create a foundation, but then I take my strongest piece of evidence and I put it at the end of the video to connect the statement, to really make that impact of, here's my strongest piece of information. I put it at the end. Everything else has been put together. And now here is the final blow. And it puts everything together. So I do the biggest piece of information last, the most standard information that we know, and then everything in between. And then I create basically a line of thinking. And then I also try to debunk the video as well. So I'll come up with this line of thinking. It's like, okay, great. Now, how can I debunk this? Can I debunk it? If I can debunk it like that and I have no counter, I don't make the video. Just nope. Why? What's the point if somebody in the first comment section just says, nope, that doesn't work? So what I do is I craft this, and then I'm like, okay, where can I debunk this? Where are the holes? And let's say I make a hole. Okay, is there anything I can seal it with? Is there something that is there another piece of factual information that debunks the debunking to reaffirm the fact of what I'm saying? And if there is, then I include that in the video. I'm like, okay, then I'll add another paragraph to fill in the hole, basically, that somebody could potentially fill. And then again, I look at it again. Where can I debunk this? And I work it. I try to flex it and work it to try to figure out where is the holes. And if there is no holes, then I do a spell check and then I voice it, right? And I don't do some people, they just turn on their microphone and they record. And can I do that? Yes, but I'll miss points. Editing it together is annoying. You might have a really good take on one time and then you go to do it again, and because it's not scripted, it's not so much of a good take, and then you want to use parts of this take and that take, and it sounds discombobulated. So I script it so that I know what it is that I'm saying and I know how to piece it all together. So that's why my videos can take a little bit longer, but I try to make sure that they're as cohesive and weaved together as possible, right? And as you said, yeah, I weave together theories and stuff. And when it comes to theories, you know, when it comes to certain theories, yeah, there are some suspension of thought that are going to be needed, of course. But if there's enough there to be able to create a suspension of thought, then yeah, I'll make a video about it as well. But in terms of like weaving everything together, it's just starting off as with the foundations, everything in between, and then the biggest point that proves and puts everything together right at the end to get to the statement of, this is why XYZ. And it can take days. It can take days to script something together. Or sometimes I'll think, oh yeah, I debunked it, and then I get an epiphany of how it's not debunked, and here's why, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes I'll have scripts. I have a script that I wrote back in October that's still sitting here. It's still sitting there. And I'm just waiting. I think there's something there. I don't know if there is, but you know, I'm thinking there could be something here. I don't know if there is, but I'm waiting to see. And then you know what? It might pop up, and then I can finish the script and then just update it for a current day. And yeah, that's how I craft together my ideas for my videos and such.
That's really interesting, especially because it almost sounds like you're like a detective trying to create like a murder mystery. It reminds me it reminds me of a Murder on the Orient Express. They're talking to these people. They're trying to find all the evidence, and then at the end, it's all together. That's really interesting. And so you started posting content back in 2009, I think. I think you started your channel in 2007 and then posted 2009. So you really started pushing out a lot of content in 2017, and from there you've grown your channel to over 60,000 subscribers. So What was the main way you got there?
So the main way I got to the point today was that I focused on a niche. And that's something that a lot of channels will do. But what will happen is that they do self-destruct eventually. So what happens is that you have these channels that will find something. Like, let's say, for me, my first shtick was Spyro, right? And I focused on Spyro exclusively. And I made sure that if there was a shred of Spyro anything, I would be able to cover it. I covered it and I made sure that people knew about it. If I had a theory about Spyro, if I had anything, I made sure that I stuck with Spyro. Now, the thing is with being a YouTuber is if you want to be a YouTuber where you see business success, you have to be able to look at things objectively as well. Because there's a lot of tips that say, hey, if you want to do YouTubing, only do what you love and nothing else, and people will come. Well, I do agree with that. You should focus it. You should focus what you love and make sure that's thematically the same, right? Because if I were to do a Spyro video and then I turn around, I'm like, okay, Spyro did really good. People have subscribed to me. I'm going to do a Assassin's Creed video. They're not related. And so you'll see the Spyro video will say, might get 10,000 views, and the Assassin's Creed one may come shy of 1,000. And what happened, right? It's because I became known as somebody with Spyro, right? And the thing is that when you find your niche, the whole point that you need to do, and what I discovered is that once you focus down on that niche, you might start off with getting 20 views, then I'll go to 200 views, 2,000 views, 20,000, 200,000, eventually 2 million, focusing on one thing. You have channels dedicated to like Call of Duty, Minecraft, all these, and that's their niche. That's their thing. That's all they talk about is that. But for me, what I did was that I did something that's called, in the business world, it's called horizontal. It's not horizontal integration, but I'm going to call it horizontal integration. So it's where I'm at the peak of Spyro, and I'm like, okay, Spyro is starting to go down now. Reignited is out. Everyone's happy with it. Everything's great. Now the hype for it is starting to subside. Now I have to figure out, okay, if I want to be able to continue to do YouTube full time, I have to be able to adopt something else. Does that mean we take Spyro and throw him out? No. We keep him as a catalyst to the channel, but we incorporate something else. So what do we incorporate? Well, we look, what is the closest thing to Spyro in terms of a franchise? Crash Bandicoot, which we know they've been together. We've seen them, in so many times. PlayStation, and then I do a list like, okay, there are both platformers, PlayStation mascots, even related to each other, where had each other's demos in each other's games, even crossover events. So then I was able to turn and tie in Crash Bandicoot to the peak of my Spyro stuff. And now I became the Crash and Spyro guy. And because I went from one niche to another niche, and I didn't try to jump into a big niche like Call of Duty, League of Legends, and whatnot. So I thought to myself, okay, statistically, I need to be able to focus my love into, I'm still doing what I love, but there's a filter. There has to be a filter, because if I did every single thing that I ever loved in gaming, the channel would have no cohesion. And that's the ultimate thing, is cohesion. And so I tried Crash Bandicoot, and people liked Crash Bandicoot. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we tie in Crash Bandicoot. Then we got CTR, the Crash Team Racing. And because that's a kart racer, if I wanted to make a game about other kart racers, like let's say Mario Kart or whatever, I could do that. I could take that avenue now, because I have a fan base that likes kart racers, that not just Crash Bandicoot, right? So it's a whole method of making sure that you don't stray too far from what started you off, and being able to basically create a hole and then bore from that hole to expand, not make a hole here, make a hole there, make a hole here by jumping all over the place. You make a hole in one thing, you make yourself known, and then you simply go over right beside and make yourself known there, and then you create one hole. And now your channel is known for both Crash and Spyro the Dragon. For me. And next in line will be Banjo-Kazooie, right? That's another thing now, because now we're expanding a little bit more, but now we're entering the Nintendo sphere, but still 3D platformer, enjoyed by many around the same era as the PlayStation 1, so that's related. Jak and Daxter, made by Naughty Dog, created by Crash Bandicoot. So they're related. And as you grow and expand in that realm, you continue to stay all related to each other. But then eventually, as that whole grows, that means that you now can start reaching out and branching out and doing other things more now, because now that whole is bigger. And you can branch out more, and eventually you'll be able to cover whatever it is that you enjoy thoroughly, because you've covered everything and you've been able to become ingrained in the algorithm. But my focus has been essentially nostalgic games that bring the feeling of nostalgia. That is where I was able to angle this. I was like, okay, now that I got Crash and Spyro, I tried Sly Cooper too, and I've reached some decent success with Sly Cooper as well. Again, another 3D platformer game. Then during the PlayStation era, Banjo-Kazooie, that's seen some success. Jak and Daxter is hit and miss sometimes. And it's experimentation too. You'll try something and it just flops, and you have to understand, well, I spent 12 hours that video and it made me 50 cents. That's just the way it is sometimes. And you have to be able to not be discouraged enough to be able to, like, okay, let's try something else. So essentially find your niche, bore a hole in it, and then expand that hole to other niches that are related to that. So, and last thing before I finish this question, I remember when I went to PAX East, there was a fan of the channel that was there, and she had a dragon cosplay. She was really cool, really, really cool. And she approached me, and she said that she subscribed for the Spyro content, but she saw me playing Crash Team Racing and saw me covering it and thought that she would like it, and she tried it out and it became her favorite kart racer. You see, that is what we try to do as well, because now the franchise's success is your channel's success as well. So if Crash does well, the channel does well. Spyro does well, the channel does well. Because what's happening now is that people are now getting into the other games that you're talking about, and they're getting interested, therefore helping the game do better. And therefore, because the game is doing better, more money will be invested into it. And because more money will be invested into it, more advertising, the game will get bigger. The quality of the game will hopefully go up. And then because you've been covering it, you go up as well. It's a whole cycle. It's a whole cycle financially and stuff like that, to figure out how to be able to grow within a channel. And that's how you do it, essentially. That's from me. Now, there are other people that take off real quick and then die off, right? There's some people that hit 100,000 subscribers in a year, and then a year later have 110,000 subscribers. They only gain 10,000 subscribers in a year, and their channels are not making a lot, right? Then there are channels that are slow growing, which might be like, okay, I got 50 subscribers this week. I got 20 subscribers in a month, whatever. But they build themselves, and what happens is that they get a diehard fan base to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, the person with 60,000 subscribers might be doing better than the person with 500,000 subscribers, because they have a 60,000 subscribers that are strong and are a core to the channel. Meanwhile, the 500,000 subscribers might have been polite, or like, why not? They don't really care about the creator, right? And I'm not saying all channels are like that. There are some people with multi-million subscriber channels, and they're all diehards, and that's great. But what I'm saying is that you want a more dedicated viewer base than a bigger one. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And so you interact a lot with your fans, whether through videos or live streams. So what do your fans mean to you?
It's hard for me to conceptualize them as fans, but more viewers and friends, because it's hard for me to be able to understand that, because I feel like it's an honor to be able to talk about these things, and for people who are interested in hearing what I have to say. And that is something that it blows me away every day. Every single day I open up my phone, I see comments of paragraphs of people wanting to add on to theories, or they want to give their own theory, or they feel like that my theories have inspired them. Or I think the ultimate thing for me is when my content inspires somebody else to create content. That is the cherry on the top of an amazing sundae of being able to create content, is being able to inspire others to create content. Because we live in a world that is just so negative when it comes to wherever you look, there's negativity. And creating content is like a little light in the darkness. And to be able to create content and to see other little buds of light pop up because of your content is something that is absolutely inspiring to me and absolutely brings me to tears. It does. It really does. And I have one random story, and I saved the comment. It was something that touched my heart. Was that when I was streaming the one day, and I had this woman, she donated to me, and very, very, very kind person. And she said that every Thursday and Friday they put on my streams for her 2 autistic boys, and they love it, and they enjoy it, and they laugh, and it gets them to settle down. And that touched my heart in such a way to know that my content is helping others in that way, where if someone's having a bad day, if somebody had a dog die, a relative die, someone gets sick, a bad day at work even, or just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and to find out that my content helped them change for the positive, even if it was just an incremental tiny little bit amount, that to me is worth every single minute that I stream, worth every single second that I put into videos, that I polish and try to make sure. I love it when I see people laughing in chat, even if it's at me. Like if I'm streaming and I'm dying and I look over and I see people laughing, I honestly feel like laughter is the best medicine, because you can laugh, and if you are laughing, if you are truly laughing, you have a smile on your face. It feels good. It feels great. It's not a fake laugh. It's because the thing is that people aren't laughing. They don't need to fake laugh on a live stream. We don't need to know that people are laughing, because in public places, you could say a joke and someone laughs, but they're kind of being fake about it. But online, they don't need to. They don't have to say anything, but they feel the need to let you know that they are laughing, and they think that this is something that is hilarious. That to me tells me that laughter is something that really inspires me to get up every day and to try to make the best content as possible, the most thorough, the most wholesome, the most whatever content, to make people's days better. That is something that I love to do. And like yesterday, I couldn't stream yesterday due to some personal circumstances, and I felt bad about it. I felt terrible about it, because there are people that look forward to the streams and it helps them feel better. And that's something that that's something that I feel bad about whenever I can't do it. And I only stream twice a week, and I wish I could stream 5 times a week, but to be able to create content and live stream 5 times a week, it's next to impossible. So I really enjoy being able to help people's day. I like giving people hope with my content. Like back during the Spyro days, there were people that were losing hope that Spyro was even going to come back in general. And there were some people saying that my videos helped them hold on just a little bit longer. Just have hope, still be excited, but hold on. And I was nervous. Because I was like, what if I'm just screaming into the void and there is no Spyro game? And yeah, that was a doubt in my mind. I was scared. I saw all the evidence. I'm like, the evidence is there, but people are getting sad and people are getting upset. And I just wanted to be able, once Spyro came out, it was a breath of relief for the people that were so sad and disappointed with the amount of times that we thought it was about to come out or about to be announced, and it wasn't, due to whatever reason. And that kind of stuff is something that just touches my heart in such a way that I love to do. And I feel like every creator should be like that. A creator should be an inspirer to other people so that they too can create. Because when you create, you are making yourself happy and you're helping other people feel happier, and you are creating an atmosphere of positivity in a world of negativity right now. And I feel like that we need a lot more positivity right now in everything, in every aspect of life right now. And I feel like creating content, me helping inspire others create content, is just absolutely amazing. And for the people that come to all my streams all the time, and for the people that comment and they are in my Discord server and all these things, and they are being a part of the community, I'm thankful for that. I'm so thankful that they're there. I'm so thankful that they want to support my content. That is something that is, so I would say that they weren't, yes, they are. I wouldn't say they're fans. I would say they're more supporters. I feel like that would be a better term, because they're supporting me to be able to, for me to be able to create content. And they might call themselves fans, and okay, fine, but I see them as supporters, and I feel like that's more meaningful than being a fan. I feel like being a supporter is better than being a fan, because a fan is like, oh yeah, I like your content, but being a supporter is, a supporter is something that is just absolutely amazing. And that's how I see people who just view, like, comment, whatever. That type of stuff just touches my heart, and it's something that I love to do every day.
That's absolutely incredible. And so on a different note, you got a really cool editing style that's really engaging, and it keeps the viewer wanting more. So was there a deliberate goal in creating your channel style? So how did you get to that point in your editing style?
So the first thing that I do for when I edit, it's something that people don't notice, and it's something that people are like, yeah, you're right, the editing is engaging, the editing is good. Why is it that my content stands up? Because if you think about it, it's me doing voiceover, and I'm showing gameplay, and I'll show images come up here and there, and it's like, okay, yeah, there are millions of videos that do it like this. Why does mine stand out? And the point of that is rhythm and flow. So if you go back and you watch a video, you'll see if I change the subject, or if I make a point, or if I do something, I cut. And the whole point is that people should be able to get to a point where they know when the footage is going to cut, and it keeps it engaging. It keeps people engaged. It keeps people happy, because there are some people that literally will do what I do, and then they just drop gameplay over top. Here we go. Here's a 10-minute gameplay over a 10-minute video of the same thing. Have at it. Or there'll be like 3 cuts. And no, you'll see I'll have 86 cuts going to different content, jumping here and there, making it interesting, making it different, making it flow. And I went to school for broadcasting and radio, television, and film, and I was originally going to be a film or TV editor. That's always what I wanted to be, was an editor. But I also wanted to be a director. I also wanted to be a writer. I also wanted to be the actor. I also wanted to be, and I'm like, well, there's no one that's like that. There's no one that writes, directs, that doesn't exist, right? Or there's very few people, AAA celebrities, that can do all of that. And I don't really want to even think about reaching that point. So I'm like, well, what job is it where I can be the director, the writer, the editor, the producer, the this, the that, the this, the that? And it is being a YouTuber. So I started to invest in that. And the positive is I am the director, the writer, the producer, the editor, and everything. The negative is I'm the director, the writer, the producer. It's a lot of work, right? And so, but it's something that I do enjoy doing. But I originally was going to be an editor. I started editing back when I was in grade 7. I'm 25 now. So I've been editing now for, I want to say, 11 years, around there. And I started like doing a lot of editing, and I did some tinkering of editing all the way back to grade 7. So, I was tinkering then, and then grade 10 I started to really try. I was 15, and I started to really get invested into editing then. And then I realized that this is what I wanted to do. And I liked editing when I was younger, but I was told there's not really anything there. And at the time there wasn't. YouTubing was in its early phases. YouTube wasn't even really a thing to think about of being a full-time job. The only time that you could ever have a full-time job on YouTube would be if you had an exclusive sponsorship or through a multi-channel network. So making an income on YouTube was something that was just not even really a thing that was possible back then. And as time went on, they made it more accessible, and they monetized it better and better and better. And now we're at a point where, yeah, it is possible. And it was a job that I wanted but didn't exist yet, and now it exists. And that's what I do full time. And the editorial style is something that I try to make people feel like, I try to make sure that people feel like it's engaging. But if I slow down, the cuts slow down. If I speed up, the cuts speed up. If I'm excited and crazy, we're going cut to match the excitement. If I take it down a notch, for whatever reason, the edits are slower, the music is slower. In fact, all the music that I use, and 99 times out of 100 is music that I've had made for the channel. I have people comment, oh yeah, there's this Crash lo-fi track. Where is it? Nowhere, it's mine. Right? I had it, it's for the channel specifically. And if my tone slows down, I shift to a slower music. If my tone speeds up, I go to the faster music. And there's a Crash Warped Electron Avenue remix that I've had made that, you know, will for speeding it up. And then for Spyro as well, we have something called Warped Hills, where it's a remix of the Warped theme and Stone Hill. And you got these themes that flow really well. And that's one thing that I'm able to do with my editing style, is to be able to make a rhythm and flow. Is it unique on the surface? Not really. But there's two things with YouTubing, and this is something that I learned very early for YouTubing. If you want to be successful, you have to do something that no one's ever done before, or do something that everybody else is doing but better. And so I try to strive to do it better. I try, right? Are there others that do better than me? Absolutely. But I try to stay ahead and try to, like, okay, how can I level this up? How can I push this? And we're at an awkward phase right now for YouTubing where if I can get a full-time editor, which I don't have right now, I have a part-time editor who helps out on a video or two a week, which is great. But we're getting to that. We're in that awkward phase where we can't get a full-time editor, but we would like to get a full-time editor. So we're almost there. But if we can get there, and I've been teaching him how to edit too, and he's learning my editing style now, and he understands it. And I'm actually seeing a little bit of how I edit in his videos as well now, because he's Shemp. He does his own YouTube and stuff as well. And it's really nice to see that growth. It's nice to see that, like, hey, you know, he's getting better as an editor and stuff like that. And sometimes now, like when he was first sending me stuff, it was like, okay, I sent him a page of like revisions, and then sometimes he sends it to me and I'm like, yeah, there's nothing is perfect. The way it is just fine. And so that is how we try to stand out from others. Is yes, they are subtly different, but those subtle differences add up to create a benefit that stands above other people's content, even though it might be something similar, because there's other people that cover Crash and Spyro content as well, and they do it differently from me. And you being unique and everything, that's great and awesome, but I try to be able to stand out. I try to with what I got. I want to start involving more of my face cam so that I can be able to be more personable with other people as well, so that people can see my face. So there's a face to the channel now, instead of it just being a maple leaf with glasses. It'd still be the logo, but people will be able to see my face and, hey, that's Canadian Guy, and they know, right? Instead of just from the live streams. And that's still the editing style. The core editing style is still going to be the same. And then another thing that I want to quickly throw in there too is that I have a higher quality setup because I reinvest the money that I get from YouTube back into YouTube. And that's something that a lot of people forget, is that sure, you could, I remember when I made my first $100 on YouTube, the first thing I did is I didn't go buy a game with it. I went and I bought new equipment for my YouTube channel. It's the first thing I did. And it increased the quality just a little bit. But again, it stands out because we have so many people trying to create content now. If you click a video and it sounds like someone's talking through their phone mic or talking through a webcam mic, and it's staticky and sporadically and it's not well lit or anything, you're just going to click off because you know there's other people who are doing it a better production value. So you take the money that you make and you reinvest it back into the channel and you upgrade, right? Like I saved up for 6-7 months for this microphone. It was a $700 microphone. I saved up for 7 months. Now we got a nice microphone, we got a nice camera, we got nice lights, and to be able to constantly be like, okay, let's push our quality, and let's keep upgrading, and let's keep going, and let's not settle. And that's something that people have to realize, is that you have to keep upgrading. You have to be increasing your production value. If you start getting a following, and people start to enjoy your content, okay, roll with it and roll with it, reinvest to push that quality, to show that for you to stand above the rest, right? And like this is a $700 microphone. Was the $150 microphone perfectly fine? Yeah, it was great. This one only marginally increases the quality, but still marginal. There's to push it above, right? And so and it took a long time for me to save, but that's the thing. You reinvest, and you reinvest. And then you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can't really upgrade my setup anymore. Now you got to figure out other ways. You're like, okay, what can I do now? What should I do now? Do I need to buy new programs? Do I need to, I'll spend a full day on doing research on how do I optimize things? How do I optimize my programs? How do I optimize my computer? How do I optimize my assets so that when I go to pull assets from somewhere, I just go click, 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 done. It's not searching for it, filing through. No, it's because every minute that passes is a minute that you could invest into the channel if you get yourself all nice and organized, right? So you could be spending 5 minutes looking for one video clip because you didn't organize it right, when before you just go click, click, you know where it is, right? So you might hear my son crying a little bit. Maybe we'll see. I don't know.
You're good.
So, but yeah, the edit back to, sorry, I kind of went a little bit of a tangent, but in terms of the editorial stuff, it's rhythm and flow. That is the key, is rhythm and flow. If I'm slow, slower song. If I speed up, more cuts, and it keeps people feeling engaged more.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so, you've been making videos for, I think your first video was 11 years ago. So what do you wish you had known when you started your YouTube channel all those years ago?
Be happy with the content that you're making. That is the number one thing. Be happy with it. Don't create content. If you go to YouTube strictly for business, you will burn out. You will. And the likelihood of you achieving is not going to be good. Or if you do achieve, you'll have short-term success and it will die off. You cannot go onto YouTube saying, I want to make money and business, and that's it, and nothing else. I just want to make views. I don't care about the content. I just want to get views. I want to make money. I want to be successful. If you don't love the content that you are creating, you will learn to hate yourself. And I had a problem back then where I wanted to please people, and I created content I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't like it, but it got views, so I kept doing it. I didn't enjoy it at all, and I burnt out, and I suffered mentally, and it's very, very taxing. You have to love it. You have to also, but you also have to think business-wise too. Is this a smart thing to do? Right? So there's a balance, right? There is a balance of, you can't just be like, I'm just going to do only everything I love. Who cares about business? And if that's what you want to do for YouTube, fine, have at it, go at it. That's great. If you get success from it, more power to you. But if you want more likelihood of success, you have to focus in that love, because most people like a multitude of genres. Like, for example, I love Dragon Age. That was one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I'm not going to be covering it on the channel. Why? Because it's not related to the games that I talk about now and to what people subscribe for. I don't want to alienate them, right? I want to make sure that the content that I talk about, people enjoy, and people know the idea or scope, what it is they're going to get involved in. If I want to do that, I've made it known on my streams, I don't just do nostalgic games for my streams. I just do a wide variety of games streams, right? And if it's something I'm really passionate about, I just stream it, right? And people know that. So if 11 years ago I would have sat myself down and say, find what you love, hone it in, focus it in, and work on that. That would be what I would have told myself 11 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. And so one of the reasons your channel is so successful is because you have a really genuine positive spirit that comes across in both your video content and live streams. So where did that come from, and why is it so important?
So the biggest thing is, like I said, the positivity, right? Positivity in this world. That's the main thing, is that I spent a lot of my time as I look back when I was a kid. I look at my childhood and I look at when I went to school. I'm the youngest of 5 kids. And going to school, of course, bullying happened, and people were mean to me, and I never liked that feeling. I never enjoyed it. I always was negative towards that, and I started to feel negative myself. And it was because I was surrounded by negative people at my school, right? And when I entered high school, I realized very early on that I need to be able to surround myself with positivity in order for me to be positive, right? And that was something that I wanted to get across. And I feel like too, people are naturally attracted to people who are genuine, right? Or repulsed. And that's the funny thing, is they're either repulsed or attracted. When people are repulsed, it's because you are being truly you. And that's the thing, is that what you see in my videos, my live streams, my videos, the high energy, the being able to talk at 1,000,000 miles a minute, the talking with my hands, the me speaking loud, and me getting excited and hyped and then, disappointed for certain things. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I make sure that while I'm streaming, and I make sure that when I'm creating my content, that it's me. Because we live in a world of negativity and facades, people who put on fake faces that are not real, and you can tell it's not genuine, right? And the thing is that when you see that, it's frustrating, because people can start seeing through that. But then when you have people who are genuine, there are people who don't even like my content, but they like me, right? They don't like my content. My content is not for them, and that's okay. But they like me because I'm genuine, and I try to be. That's the best thing I try to be, is I try to be as genuine and as true to myself as possible. And whenever someone asks me a question, I always make sure, I always try to make sure that if someone asked me this question in real life, right, would I answer this the same way? And the answer is yes. Yes, I would. Because you have to keep yourself in check as a content creator. You have to, because there are people who have wildly different personalities than you that are more successful than you. And in the strive of trying to be more successful, people will change their personalities or change their content to try to match towards something that they find more successful. But you can't do that. You can't do it. You have to stay true. If you stay true and stay positive, then you can attract people, but also repulse them, like I said, because the thing is that when you put down the facade, people see you as you, and people sometimes just don't like you. And that's something that everyone has to learn with the content, is sometimes people just don't like you. They don't know why, but they just don't. And you never did anything to them. You never did anything wrong. There's no reason for them to, yet they don't like you. And that's just a problem that people have to deal with. But then if you are genuine, though, you attract genuine people. You attract people that feel like that maybe they don't need to have a facade. Maybe they are people that don't have any facades at all, or people that have had facades but kind of keep things hidden because they don't want to talk about it or be around it. And then they see someone who's genuine and open about it, and it allows them to be able to take off that mask and realize that they don't need it anymore. And that's a positive thing. That's a positive thing, that you don't need that facade anymore. You don't need that mask. You just need to be true and be yourself, right? And it's going to push people away. It will. It most definitely will. In real life, I don't have that many friends because I'm a strong personality, and I embrace that. I know I have one. Right? There's some people who have a very laid back personality. I have a very strong personality, and it can offend people and detest them. And I understand that. And I've grown to understand that this is my personality and this is me, because when I'm in the state of me, being me, I'm happy, I'm me, I feel like I'm being true to myself. And if people don't like me being true to myself, why do they want to be involved with me? Right? So it's something that I've practiced in my videos. The saying, practice what you preach. And I 100% back that saying 100%. I want to be genuine. I want people to know who I am, so that when people are seeing me on live stream and they see me in person, it's the exact same person. There's no difference. There's absolutely none whatsoever. The only difference between live stream me and me when I'm gaming is that when I'm me, all those things that you hear are stuff that goes on in my head. I don't scream and shout when I'm not streaming because I got a baby right next door. But when I'm live streaming, what you see coming out of my mouth is what's coming into my head, and I'm just letting it flow out. That's it. I just let it out, because it's genuine, right? If I set myself in a genuine state, then what will speak will be genuine, right? And what I say will be legitimate. And what I say, I won't ever have to turn around and say, oh, wait, no, I take that back. So far, I might verbally make a mistake later on, possibly, but if there's nobody calling me out saying, oh, you said something, you said this, that, and the other on a live stream, no, you don't see that, because everything I say is genuine, because I set myself internally in a genuine state. And as long as I do that, and I'm able to articulate my thoughts clearly, I think that is something that attracts a lot of people. And that's another thing too, is that if you're able to articulate your thoughts clearly and concisely, you're going to be able to attract a lot of people, because the problem with a lot of people is that they don't know how to articulate their thoughts. They don't know how to talk. They have a thought in their head and they want to speak it, but they don't know how. It just doesn't process. It doesn't translate right. And if you teach yourself to be articulate, and you teach yourself to be able to speak in a pleasant manner, to be able to get your thoughts across clearly and concisely, you then can help others as well learn that, and you're able to get your thoughts clear and concise. Because I believe that some people who get screamed like, oh yeah, this person said something terrible, sometimes it was just something that wasn't, they just didn't know how to say what they were trying to think, and what they were thinking was fine, but it didn't come out right? Not every situation is like that, but sometimes that's what happens. It comes out wrong, right? And it's a miscommunication. But if you're able to know how to articulate your thoughts as clear and concise as possible, and be genuine, and be able to be crystal clear to people so that they know what stance you're on, you will attract genuine people who enjoy your content for you. And that is something that is very, very important. And you can put on a facade. You can have a character, like, I might make like a third channel where I'm a character. I change my name but people know it's a character. People know it's a shtick. People know that. The problem is that people get upset when people don't know if it's a character, or if it's a shtick, or if it's somebody being them, right? And that's where the gray areas are. And that is where people get hit with criticism and the repulse. But people being genuine, it's like, yeah, I think he is being genuine. He or she is being genuine. I think that they are being a good person. They're trying to their best in life to be the best person as they can. And that is what they're trying to be. That's what they're trying to do. And then people can back that. People can support that. People like that. People want to see that, right? So to answer your question, being articulate and being genuine is something that is incredibly important, to be able to get your thoughts across clearly so that people can understand where you stand. So
yeah, definitely, that's incredible. And so finally, what's your advice in general for kids trying to follow their dreams?
Follow your dreams. Figure out what it is that you love. That it sounds simple. It sounds really simple, but before you follow your dreams, figure out what it is that you love. Because sometimes you dream and you don't realize until you start doing it that maybe it's not what you like. And it's definitely something that's anxious for people, but figure out what you love doing. What is it that interests you? It could be anything. Are you interested in bones for archaeology? Are you interested in making videos for being a YouTuber? Are you interested in writing stories? Figure out what it is where your love lies, because where you figure out where your love lies, you then can turn and say, okay, now I know where my love lies. From there, what job opportunities, what dream opportunities shows up for the things that I love. Because if you follow that path correctly, you then can find a perfect job, because there's no other job like being a YouTuber, for example, or I love talking about video games and I love video editing. There's very few job applications that require you to know what you're talking about when it comes to video games and know how to edit a video together. There's very few job openings, right? I could work at IGN maybe, or, et cetera, but I want to be a YouTuber. And guess what? That fit me perfectly. That fits my personality, that fits my interest, that fits everything. And make sure what you love fits you. If you figure out the love that fits you, in terms of a job, it'll be just like a glove. It'll work. And I believe there is a job for everybody. There is a job for everybody that they love. that they adore, right? And that is something that I feel like that people need to discover first, and then figure out from there, okay, I want to do this. I love this. I want to do this. Then figure out a game plan. How do you get there? And then start, give it your best. And if you fall, get back up, try again. And if you fall again, keep getting back up and keep trying again. And so that when you are later in life, if you ever want to turn around and be like, did I ever try? You can say yes. And your dream can change too. That's something that a lot of people think. People think that once you set a dream, that's it. That has to be it. If you don't make it, you fail. No, you can find a different dream on the way of a journey, because life is a journey. And you have to journey through it with many different people. You journey through it with different experiences. And the thing is that just know that focus on what you love, focus on what you enjoy, and be reasonable. And if you do that, you should be able to aspire whatever it is that you want to be.
That's awesome. That's incredible. And so, all right, those are all the questions that I have for today. But I really want to thank you for coming on the show.